Hello and welcome to Drive Steady. Porsche recently released information on the base model 911 Carrera for the 992 generation. So let's talk about it a little bit and see how it shakes out against the competition. When Porsche originally announced the 992 generation of the 911, it was only available in the Carrera S trim, which is typically the higher level trim. Many have been waiting for the base version, and here it is. The base trim, which is how I'll be referring to it for the rest of this video, will have the same 3-liter engine as the S trim. The specifics are not available at this time, but my assumption is that it's just a detuned version. It will pump out 379 horsepower and 331 foot-pounds of torque. The former horsepower number represents a 9 horsepower increase over the outgoing generation, while the torque remains the same. The max engine horsepower is reached at 6,500 RPM, and the max torque comes in at 5,000 RPM. The red line is set at 7,500 RPM, which is pretty high for a forced induction engine. Again, similar to the S trim level, the Carrera will launch with the PDK transmission. Porsche has committed to building both the base Carrera and the S trim with manual transmissions during the car's life cycle. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that the new mid-engine Corvette is not getting a manual. I usually like to compare Corvettes and 911s because they were the few true sports cars that were being offered in a manual transmission. With the news that the Corvette isn't getting a manual, the 911 is truly the only sports car with the engine in the back that offers a manual transmission. High five to Porsche for continuing to offer the manual option. This is a graphic showing the difference in horsepower and torque between the base Carrera and the S trim for the new 992 generation. You can see the difference between the two is in favor of the S trim, as it's got an extra 64 horsepower and 59 foot-pounds of torque over the base trim. So let's talk about performance. The base trim coupe will sprint to 60 in 4 seconds with the PDK, and if you tack the Sport Chrono package, it will drop it to 3.8 seconds. The Cabriolet achieves it in 4.2 seconds and 4 seconds. These numbers represent a 0.2 of a second quicker time versus the outgoing model. The top speed is 182 miles per hour and 180 miles per hour for the coupe and Cabriolet respectively. Another controversial topic that's always discussed among car enthusiasts is weight. On the Porsche website, the new base 911 is listed at 3,354 pounds for the coupe and 3,508 pounds for the Cabriolet. Typically, Porsche reports dry weights. Dry weight means the car has no fluids, so I'll assume that these figures are based on that dry weight. Comparing it to the outgoing model, the 991.2 generation base trim with the PDK comes in at 3,197 pounds and the Cabriolet at 3,351 pounds. In the coupe version, it represents more than a 150-pound weight gain with only a 9 horsepower increase. So those 0.2 of a second gain in the 0 to 60 time are probably contributed to the PDK reprogramming and the extra grip of the tires, which are of course wider due to the wide body. Let's talk about the exterior a little bit. Previously, the base 911 trim would receive a narrow body treatment, and everything above the S trim would receive a wide body. For the 992 generation, Porsche went in a new direction with the exterior styling in that all 911s are fitted with a wide body. The visual differences between the base and the S trim in the 992 generation basically boil down to exhaust tips, the Carrera badge, and the smaller wheels and brakes. To the untrained eye, the exhaust will likely stand out the most, as the base Carrera will get 2 rectangular tips while the S trim will get the traditional quad tailpipes. If you really want no visual difference between either trim, you can option the sport exhaust and the bigger wheels, and you'll basically got an identical look to the S trim without the S performance, of course. Touching on the interior really quickly, the interior is practically the same in both the base and the S trim models, even down to the 10.9-inch infotainment screen. The base trim also gets PASM, just like the S trim, further Porsche narrowing down the gap between the two trim levels. The Carrera will be available in both coupe and cabriolet body styles. The coupe version will start at $97,400 and the cabriolet at $110,200. Porsche will also charge a $1,350 destination and handling fee, putting the Carrera Coupe a hair under six figures at $98,750 and the Cabriolet at $111,550. Now, my final thoughts on the base 911. One item I'm scratching my head on is the fact that the base trim went up $6,000 in price, but Porsche was only able to squeeze another 9 horsepower over the previous model. I suppose the argument is most of that price increase is going towards the much nicer interior and the wide body. But my opinion of it is that they should have given it something in the double-digit horsepower increase. Something between 15 and 20 horsepower would have been nice. Of course, I've got to mention this, but especially considering the fact that the new mid-engine Corvette has 500 horsepower, weighs practically the same as the base Carrera, and achieves 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat. Hey, maybe Porsche is saving a bigger horsepower bump for the mid-cycle refresh. Who knows? But anyway, my admiration for Porsche is not only quantified by the horsepower and torque figures. The overall experience of a 911 is what makes it a 911. It offers an experience like no other sports car does. The 992 interior is more advanced, the performance increase, albeit a small one, is adequate for the base trim. The brand power and the attention to customer involvement and opinion is unmatched, and to top it all off, Porsche is continuing to offer the 911 with a manual transmission. Let's see how long that lasts. But till then, stop complaining about Porsche pricing and enjoy the fact that they continue to be motivated by satisfying their customers' enthusiasm towards the art of driving. Thanks for watching, and as always, till next time, drive steady.